Welcome to the Wake.Show. As everybody knows, the show needs an intro. This is that intro. I am Fisher, your host. Chris McCarty has got jet lag. He's going to get some rest and spend some time with the kids, and he'll be back on Tuesday. But we got a lot to get to today. I'm Fisher. Welcome. Thank you so much for the likes and shares. Make sure you like and share as well. Elliot, Lauren, good morning. And I want to bring in my first guest. Well, first of all, we have a guest host today. Let me introduce him. And Stephen, welcome back, Stephen. How are you, sir?
I'm good, sir. Thank you for having me, as always. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
And one of the games that we play every time Stephen's here is, let's see if I can say his name right. And one of these days, Stephen Arferis.
Nailed it, Fish.
Arferis. All right.
You would blend right in Athens right now.
And in Athens, Greece.
You got it.
Oh, I see we are peaking. I see we're peaking audio-wise. And we're going to bring in our first guest here in a second as well. There was something else I wanted to say before. Oh, thank you so much to Single Source Insurance for being a part of the Wake.Show. And let's get to Steve Weintraub. All right. Steve Weintraub, you say? Yes, Steve Weintraub. We got to pull him up because he's on a mission. We talked about it earlier in the week, and it has to do with the St. Pete Pier. If you recognize the name Steve Weintraub, Julie Weintraub from Golden Diamond Source, do a lot in the community. You see him on TV all the time. Oh, did I miss him? It's all right. Hey, listen, it's okay if we don't get him. I'm going to leave the messenger up in case he calls us, though. All right. We'll do the old end call and maybe try him back in a couple of minutes. Oh, here he is. Here it is. And so we welcome to the Wake.Show, Steve Weintraub. How are you, sir?
Sorry, good. I'm good. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you just fine. Thank you so much for being part of the Wake.Show today. You're in Colorado, eh?
Yeah, we're in Telluride. We just got in late last night. You know, we got in the airport, and there's about an hour and 20-minute van ride to the resort we're staying at, and there was a mudslide. So we were stuck on the road for like 3 hours.
Wow.
I mean, it was scary. Good thing we weren't in the middle of the mudslide.
Jeez.
I might not even be talking to you right now.
All right, well, what are you guys doing in Colorado, by the way? Because, I've got my medical card. If you guys can pick me up some stuff while you're out there and bring it back, that'd be awesome.
No, unfortunately, we're not out here for that. We're out for vacation, but no, we're not. We haven't stopped at any dispensaries yet, but we did pass a couple on the way.
All right. Are they nice and colorful? Do they have a nice smell coming from them?
Well, we haven't smelled anything yet. It was an outdoor concert, but no smells. So
all right, well,
I'm sure I'll get a whiff before we come back.
All right, well, let's, Mr. Weintraub, let's talk about this issue you have, so with the St. Pete Pier, they're going to have this huge statue, a monument there, as you're walking up there that kind of introduces everybody to this new pier. You and your wife have a suggestion, and this is this. Well, tell us about the monument. This is Hercules.
Well, listen, 10 years ago, we met a sculptor. He's a world-renowned sculptor. His name's Nez Saren. He's from Spain. And he sculpted this. It's actually the largest mythological bronze sculpture in the world. And it's Hercules holding the pillars together, signifying world peace. It's called Union of the World, Monument to World Peace. So it has tremendous significance. And it was shipped over by boat, originally dedicated to the city of Miami. But certain things happened which made Hanez ask me and Julie if we would take care of his sculpture while he's over in China sculpting the largest Buddha in the world. Jeez. And a thought came to us that with the new St. Pete Pier, first of all, this sculpture is magnificent. Anybody that sees it agrees with us. And understand that bronze sculptures will outlive all of us, okay? Especially an 8-ton, 24-foot sculpture. And we have it displayed in front of the Golden Diamond Source currently. And our idea was to put it up so everybody could see this magnificent sculpture, that perhaps they would consider putting it to the entrance to the pier. And that would be our landmark. So we brought it up and spent money to bring it up here. And the permitting was, just to get permitting took us like 4 or 5 months because of the winds here and the hurricane. And just imagine the trouble we went through to get permitting for an 8-ton bronze sculpture because of our hurricane winds. Okay, let's fast forward. We know Mayor Kreisman. We have nothing against Mayor Kreisman. We see him at all kinds of events, and we've told him about the sculpture, showed him pictures, and he said he would come up and look at it. Well, let's fast forward to the pictures that we see in the paper or everywhere on the news, this floating balloon. I'm not sure what it is. Okay, nobody's explained to me what the significance of this balloon is. I have no idea.
Okay, so that is a balloon. I saw the picture on your Facebook page, and I'm going to pull those up after we get off with you, so everybody that's watching can see what I'm talking about. Yeah. But so is that what that is? It's a balloon. It looks like some kind of I don't know what it looks like.
Well, what else could it be? It's floating in the sky. So I don't know of any metal sculpture that you could float in the sky. So it's got to be have some kind of air underneath it, I guess. But it's pretty. I'm not saying it's not pretty.
Very colorful.
And all we were asking was for the mayor to come and look at our sculpture, or the committee, whoever the committee is, to come and look at it. And they promised they would, and they didn't. They canceled and said they didn't have the funding, which was very disappointing to us. And I'm not saying we're the cure-all, that statue should be down at the pier, but as citizens of the Tampa Bay community, and we went through that expense, we at least thought that a 15-minute drive would be not too much to ask for somebody to come and look at it.
Well, after they told you that, it's going to cost too much money, they then allocated even more money for this.
More money, yeah.
Right?
The statue we have currently is $2 million. The one they're putting up is $2.8 million. And the thing that I really question about this, the people who've lived in Florida for all these years know how damaging the sun and the wind, and let's not even talk about the hurricanes, okay? How long is this floating balloon going to last? How long? I don't know. They say it will last 150-mile hurricane force winds. I don't know how, but there's just all kinds of issues with it that I see. I really do.
And not only that, but like you said, there's that the Hercules pillars say something, and it is a unity.
There's some kind of significance, and people have tried to bring up this LBGT into this balloon, and we're strong supporters of the LBGT community. A lot of our very good friends are involved in it. Our family members are. So we have no bone to pick with that at all. In fact, we support them. But nobody has come out and said that's what it is. We don't know what it is.
That's my first thought. Because it's a big rainbow thing, whatever, a balloon or whatever that thing is.
Honestly, it wasn't my thought. I did not, when I posted that on Facebook, it didn't go through my head at all. And of course, some of my left and right-wing friends were kind enough to bring that to my attention, but that's not mine and Julie's thought at all. We're not. This is not about that at all. This is about a piece of artwork that is going to last for thousands of years. And anyhow, I just thought that we should at least have had an opportunity to present our statue. It's right here on Alberton Road. I mean, it was just very disappointing.
And is there that opportunity? Have they made the final decision? Could people call the Rick Kreisman's office and say, hey, why don't you take a look at this? Yes, that's a very pretty, rainbowy, balloony thing you guys are looking at for $2.8 million. But there's something else here. And not only that, but your family, you and your wife, are not just business people here in the Bay Area, but you guys do a lot in the community for the community. So
we're not asking for any special treatment. We're just asking for someone to come and look at it. And if there's an art committee, which we don't know who that is, that they come and look at it. That's not too much to ask. And is it too late? Of course not. I don't think we've forked over the $2.8 million yet. So no, it's never too late. So hey, listen, Chris.
Yes, sir.
Me and Julie are happy to have this beautiful sculpture in front of our store for the next 1,000 years.
True.
We thought, as community-minded as we are, that it would be a magnificent piece to have in our pier.
I'll be curious to learn to see if there's a story, because like I said, it is what they are planning to put up there. It's colorful, it's big, but is there any significance? Is it telling a story? Is it about community and unity or something else? So
we don't know that. Nobody said anything about it. It's just pretty. I think somebody went to Boston and they have a sculpture. I can't remember the artist's name, but she has this beautiful sculpture in Boston. Well, Boston is not St. Petersburg. First of all, the weather is totally different. Just from a practical standpoint, there's issues with this balloon. I'm telling you right now, it is not going to be a floating balloon in a 150-mile-an-hour wind storm is going to have issues. I don't care what anybody says.
And Steve, one of our viewers, and the cool thing about this show is it's in real time and people can comment as we're talking. So one of the viewers, Elliot, says, did you even consider a statue of me fist bumping Hulk Hogan? So maybe that's the issue. If it weren't Hercules, but if it were Hulk Hogan up there, then they would accept it.
Well, listen, we're open to anything, but there's not too many people that will ship over a 8-ton bronze mythological sculpture, the largest in the world, and at least not have the consideration for somebody to look at it. I mean, anybody that's seen it knows how magnificent it is, and it has meaning. You know, our world right now is so torn apart. I mean, you can't post anything on Facebook without the right and the left slamming each other, being nasty. I had to block a guy on Facebook that told me that he thought my Hercules belongs in my garden. And I said, well, I think your balloon belongs in your garden. And then he told me I was being nasty to him. So I don't know. I guess they can say whatever they want to me, but I can't say it to them.
Right.
But listen, all we're asking for is a look-see. That's all. We're not saying that ours is the better way, which we do think that. But we think that we should have a say in this. You know, this is going to be $2.8 million is just the beginning on this balloon, I'm telling you. What happens if a storm knocks half of it down? How much are we on the hook for then?
Right,
you know,
right.
And Hercules, he'll be there long after we're dead and gone.
That's right. Well, and if you ever do want to get rid of it, we also have Tarpon Springs. I'm sure Hercules will fit in up there easily, too.
Yeah, well, you know, we kind of had our hearts set on. We live, you know, I've been here since 1979. All my children and grandkids were born here in the Bay Area, and we live 10 minutes from downtown St. Pete, and we just love the area. We love the people. And we kind of had our hearts set on it being down there, and probably if it doesn't go down there, I think we'll just keep it in front of our store. So, you know, that's our opinion.
Well, Steve, before I let you go today, there's a couple people that want to say us things. Again, like I said, from our comment section, Steve says, much respect to you, sir. I spent 12 years in the jewelry biz. Cheers to your continued success. And Brett says, good morning. I'm stopping by Gold and Diamond Source today to have my wife's ring cleaned. So,
well, we appreciate that. You know, we have so many thousands of unbelievably great customers, and they're really more than customers to us. They're like family. Our whole business is family. We have probably, I don't know, we're up to probably 10 family members. All my children work there. My two youngest right now are up in Carlsbad going to Gemological Institute of America. They'll be graduating as diamond gemologists and colored gemstone gemologists. They'll be coming to work for the company. It's a family affair. And when you come in our store, we treat you like family, and that's what we're all about. And you know, we like to think that the community is like a family. But, you know, when you get a situation like this and you get people that just are one-minded and are closed-minded, it's discouraging. It really is. You know, I think we should be open to all ideas.
Yeah. Steve Weintraub, thank you so much, sir. Enjoy the rest of your vacation, and thank you for taking a little bit of your time to hop on with us today.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
See you, sir.
Bye. All right, Steve Weintraub, and here we go. But now, I want to get back to his. Let's see, how do I do that real quick? Is it this? Okay, so here is the picture right now. This is out in front of their store because I know I didn't bring it up while we were talking. But here's what he's talking about. This is the Herculean. And right there, you can see the Astoria there in the background. So this is what he's talking about. And this is a, you know, what's it called? You see, Union of the World, Monument to World Peace. So that's one of the reasons why they want this to, well, where you go there? There you are. This is one of the reasons why they want it there. So I don't know if that's something you're passionate about or not, but it would be curious to find out the story, because I think that is all right. Well, Stephen, let's bring you in.
Sure.
Let's bring you in.
As the resident Greek, with a background in Greek mythology.
So do you say your prayers to Hercules at night?
Zeus, all of them, especially during lightning season. Like, Zeus, please, one shutout.
That's right. You're with the lightning too. So there you go.
It's thematic. And speaking of those thematics, I mean, it's a pretty beautiful piece of art right there. And I like the idea of there's some sort of symbolism to it. And I'm not to say that there's not one with the balloon. I haven't seen a rendering of it. But you see this and you see all that they can go along with it, the union of world peace. And when you think about the pier and having it to be a place of community and gathering, that would be fantastic down there.
So I like that message. Other than that, other than the message, personally, if you're going to spend that kind of money and this is going to introduce people as they're walking into the pier, you're going to see this, whatever it's going to be, the giant balloon. Oh, I should probably bring that up too, right?
Oh, is there an image of it?
Let me show you the giant balloon thing. Cool. It might take me a minute to get there. But, so, I don't remember where I was now. But here we go. Oh, so yeah. So if you have this huge thing, And this is what it looked like in Spain, I guess, before they flew it over here.
Good grief. Look at that thing.
Yeah. So how amazing is that? I don't know if that's the Mediterranean, of where that is exactly. Right. But how that is pretty spectacular. So imagine that sitting there right in the bay.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a cool look.
Yeah, for sure.
So now here's what it looks like they've chosen. And again, I don't know if it's a final deal here, but this is what it is. This is what it looks like some kind of a giant flowing tarp, colorful tarp.
A net?
By the way, I'm sure that if there, whoa, what fanciness what button did I click on? There goes my split screen again. I don't know how I did that.
Yeah.
So I don't remember where I was going with that either. Jeez, I'm sorry.
It's not bad either. I mean,
right. It's very pleasant,
Yeah.
appealing to the eye. Come on. Why? Damn it. I love my split screen. I lost. All right, so here's what I'm going to do, people. I'm going to turn things off and turn it back on real quickly because I think that worked last time, and see if I can get my screen, because I love my split screen. So, oh my gosh. All right, so I'm going to bring this back up again. So Keith Connors, it's good to see you on here, by the way, from Magic 94.9. Bird turd catcher. Look at it. How is that just not going to be covered?
Oh my God.
Because I'm assuming by the looks of it that this is like this, it's going to flow with the wind and da-da-da, and I guess it's tied down and can handle 150-mile-an-hour winds, but we're going to take some chances on that, I guess. But I guess it probably will look kind of cool. But yeah, that's going to be a lot of bird poop they're going to have to figure.
Mosquito catcher too, especially this time of year.
Yeah, Sharon's asking. Mosquito catcher. Sharon's asking, why don't people like it? I don't know that everybody doesn't like it, but Steve Weintraub, Steve and Julie Weintraub. Oh, I'm sorry, Keith. I'm sorry. B98.7. I'm so sorry, buddy. He worked at that other station for years, and now they're direct competitors. So I'm sorry, Keith. I'm sorry. He does afternoons. Make sure you listen every afternoon to B98.7. Michael says, I don't hope the taxpayers don't pay for that.
Is the idea that it flows in the wind?
I'm assuming.
And creates some sort of abstract.
I'm assuming. Just by looking at it, that's what I'm assuming.
If I may just be the mediator that I am.
Please do.
Both?
Can you have both? Well, one of them is $2 million, and that's the Hercules one.
Okay.
It's and then this thing is $2.8 million.
Ooh, okay.
And
so there's a...
Yeah, and so
I'll write you a check.
Yeah, back to Michael's question. I hope the taxpayers don't pay for... Yes, we do. This isn't coming out of Michael. This isn't coming out of, Rick Kreisman's, pocket. This isn't coming out of Steve Weintraub's pocket. The taxpayers will be paying for this. I don't hate it. The issue this morning, Sharon, is that you just missed it. I see you just signed on, but we had Steve Weintraub on, and he had offered something up to the city. And, he and his family are huge here in Pinellas County in St. Petersburg. And they have, well, if you miss it, I'll show it to you again real quickly. This statue right here, and it's called Unity of the World. All right. And it's Hercules. All right, so back to my original thing. Here's what I'm thinking, Stephen. And then I'm going to reset this to see if I can get...
That's a good-looking green right there.
Wait, can I do it this way? Will this work? No. All right, I'm going to turn my stuff off and turn it back on here in a second.
You want to sit in front of the same camera and we'll put a piece of paper between us?
Maybe that's what we'll do. So what I was thinking is what I guess I would like to see now that we're having this discussion of what piece of art's going to go in front of the St. Petersburg Pier, I guess I'd like to see it local. If I had my choice, this thing from Steve and Julie Weintraub is amazing, right? But it's, as you pointed out, it's Greek. It's Hercules.
Yeah.
And that's fine by me. I don't have a problem with that at all. But I guess if I had my ideal situation, it would be some local artist, would come up with something. But maybe,
that would be rad,
right?
And I want to know though, when you see the bronze statue, it makes a lot of sense. That's going to take time to sculpt and get everything to proportions. That takes time. I see the $2 million. And I'm not knocking the net. If there's anyone in chat who is a net aficionado, or if there's another word for this sculpture that we don't know, if you guys understand the costs of whatever that might be, throw it into chat. I want to know what would cost that to be $2.8 million.
So when you're looking at this thing, Steven, you go, oh yeah, it's pretty, and I bet when it flows in the wind, it'll create a cool effect. But $2.8 million, that's too. Oh my God. Yeah. Elliot says, in unrelated news, there's no exaggeration about 1,000 people in line to build a bear at Countryside Mall. It's a zoo of biblical proportions. Hammock for the homeless, says Michael. Hammock for the homeless. Well, we need it then. Okay, if that's the case, then stick it right there in was it Williams Park and let them have at it. And Sharon, I saw a little of him, and he was saying it upset him because people didn't like it. Now, he was upset that Rick Kreisman said, "Yeah, we'll take a look at your sculpture," then didn't and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's going to be too expensive anyway, so we're not going to look at it." And then he finds out that they're spending $2.8 million on this. And Michael's saying $2 million for engineering. So $800,000 for the net.
Okay. All right, it makes sense. Then $2 million on the pillars and what it's going to take to have it withstand the first hurricane that comes through. Okay. All
right. So here's what we're going to do now.
Fascinating.
How you doing, Adam? Thank you so much for the likes and the shares, and make sure you invite your friends. We'll be hitting some topics here in a second, but here's what I want to do, because I love my split screen and something has happened. My split screen has turned into a green screen. So I'm going to turn this off. I think we're going to lose video, but we should retain audio, and we'll pre-sell, some of the stuff we're talking about, and then hopefully you'll turn it on, turn it back on. Here we go. All right. So yes, we've lost video. We've lost video, everybody.
Oh my God.
Shh. I can hear the submarines above us. Ping, ping. Let's turn this bad boy back on and see what happens. Oh,
give me one ping, Vasily. One ping only, please.
All right, and coming up on the show today, while this resets. Oh, we're back. We're already back. There we go. Now, will I have my green screen?
Yeah,
I mean my split screen.
It is a great day for science.
All right, good job. Good job, me. When in doubt, turn it off and turn it back on.
It's the best troubleshoot.
All right, Steven, any news? Because we're going to get into some sports stuff here. I want to talk. We're going to go from the monument thing we're talking there to Rays baseball and Ybor City. We got a Joe Henderson piece that we'll touch on. But you being entrenched in Tampa Bay Lightning everything.
Sure.
Oh, wait, I was going to ask you what the big news was. There's huge news this week. A couple big signings. First of all, spending way too much money. Or I guess maybe I should get your professional opinion, sir. What are your thoughts on our there was two major signings this week, right? Within the last week? Kucherov
and McDonough.
Right.
Love them both.
All right.
Yeah.
And so Kucherov is now, this is the most money we've ever spent on a player?
I think it's close, yeah. There might have been Vinny got 10 at one point.
Okay.
But this is the longest deal, I think. This is...
I remember reading something in that category.
$9.5 million per year. For the player who's got the most points in the NHL over the last 2 years, second to a generational talent in Connor McDavid. That kid can't drink beer legally in the United States and is putting up record numbers. But we have our own guys here in Tampa locally with Kucherov. Those guys are putting in work right now, too.
And what do I need to know about, are we going to be able to re-sign Stamp? Because I've heard that's up in the air.
Oh, no, he's re-signed. He's here for 8 years.
Oh, okay. Or is there somebody else we were wondering if we're going to be able to re-sign coming up?
We're trying to make a trade
for
Erik Karlsson. It's a rumored trade. He's the defenseman for the Ottawa Senators. He's their captain, and he's a two-time Norris Trophy winner. Norris Trophies for the best defenseman in the NHL.
Where are we getting all this money?
Which your Tampa Bay Lightning's Victor Hedman just won. Congratulations to him.
Well done, Victor.
So the question is, what does the Lightning have to give up in the event that they want to bring a contract like that in? But I have faith in Steve Yzerman every time these type of things happen, and we have these question marks of like, how does math work? He shows up, and it's like, oh, you see, you just... minus this number, and here you go.
I was listening to my old friend Seth Kushner. If you guys listened back in the day when I was at 97X, he was my producer as Boy Fisher and Boy back then. He's the executive producer of Drew Garabo Live now on WHPT 102.5. Anthony, that's the crazy lightning guy. I know Anthony. He and his wife are season ticket holders.
Oh, are they?
So they must have.
How
seen,
are you, Anthony? Good to see you, man.
They must have seen you running around.
Yeah.
Thunder Alley.
It happens, man. Yeah, I'm just trying to do my job, Anthony. Just trying to do my job.
I've never seen you do your thing. I can't wait for next season. Are you going to be back next season?
I'll be back.
Did they
next
re-up
year.
you?
Yeah, well, we have auditions coming up here in about a month. See how that goes.
Wait, you have to re-up?
I audition, man. I'm not better than anybody.
Well, no
I
kidding.
show up, I put my shtick together, and I go buck wild in auditions, man.
Can I audition against you?
You want to?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that should be Wake.Show live at Lightning auditions for Bolt Brigade.
Yeah, but what if I got the gig?
No, you would get the gig because you'd be incredible.
No, I can tell that you've got a little spark of charisma in you, buddy. I would definitely not go into that competition.
I would want to see
lightly.
though. I want to see you out there.
I would enjoy it.
T-shirt, gun, the whole shebang, man. You're gonna love it.
That's totally my thing. So here's the thing. So I was listening to Seth the other day, and they were talking about this, and so I just want to run this stuff by you. So because this is where I get my information, of course, when it comes to the Tampa Bay Lightning. I either get it from Anthony, and this is my buddy I was telling you about earlier, because you're Greek.
Yes, sir.
And I was telling you about my buddy Anthony Kostakis.
Oh, right.
When I was trying to get his name down right, a couple years ago, he's like, don't. He said either something along the lines of even my dad can't get it right, or my dad's the only one that can say it right. So don't even try.
The pain.
Let me know if you have a video. I sure do. That was Steve Weintraub buzzing back in.
Nice.
Let me know if you have a video of the interview, and I'll post it on my page. All right, so I will pull that. I will get that to you after the show. So I'll pull that off. Let me hold on, because I will not remember. My ADD will kick in. Hold, please, everybody. Oh, wait.
Write our notes down. That was really cool of him to be able to call in from that time out in Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Take a little time out of a vacation. Seemed like a nice guy. He was passionate about it, too. I appreciate that.
Video to Steve. There we go. All right. Thanks. Taken care of. So where I will get that to you today. All right. Where were we? Okay, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yes, sir.
So I was listening to basically say that Steve, was it? Yeah, wait.
Yzerman.
Steve Yzerman is a genius and is considered not only one of the best GMs, if not the best GM in hockey, but in all of sports.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
Okay.
The things we've seen him do, like little trades where you trade for a player and then 6 months later the player you traded away, not even 6 months in some instances, gets either released by a team or waived, and we pick them back up, which means you basically traded one player away and then brought him back.
Cheaper?
Yeah, in some instances. So what you've done is you've just added to your roster without really giving anything up. They really covet their prospects. I like everything they do over there. There's a sense of long-term focus and understanding and patience and calm, and we don't freak out. There's no chasing things. It just gets done the right way at the right time. And if it's going to happen, it happens. But they wait. They don't force anything. And you feel that in the atmosphere just walking around the building on like a random Tuesday. When I've been in there, there's a level and an understanding of, all right, get the things done that need to get done when they need to get done.
All right, then. So let's talk a little bit about because I know you're a sports guy. So
Sure.
The talk this week coming out of the Tampa Bay Rays has to do with the stadium.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful, obviously looks beautiful. The conceptual artistic rendering.
How about that, man?
Does look beautiful. But do you? So the piece that we were talking about yesterday was John Romano's piece, and it had to do with, are we even a major league city? Does it matter? Because could we build the perfect stadium in the perfect part of town and still make it work? And I don't know. I'm not confident that we can. I don't know that this area. It's not that we don't have a big enough area. It's not that we don't have the population. It's not that we don't have the money. I just think that, in a sense, we are a fair weather town. And I mean that kind of as a double entendre, because they'll use that term as like you're only into your teams when they win. There's a certain amount of truth to that.
Sure.
Right? Now, the Lightning do a pretty good job. If they're in some losing streaks, they're still packing the house, right? Or do their numbers dip like everybody else?
The thing is, they haven't had they've been selling out for I think it's over 150 games straight at this point. It might be
awesome.
more than that. And the thing is, even the year before last, where there was a little bit of a dip in the record, I mean, the house was packed because there's still this hope of like, they're not out of it just yet. But the Lightning have built a reputation to do that with. The Rays in baseball, it's a little bit different. There's no salary cap. There's all these other extenuating factors of weather or what's your market. We have high viewership on TV for the Rays.
Yep, that's solid.
I just don't know. This park, it's pretty cool, man. And then you go by these other stadiums locally for minor league baseball. The minor league baseball teams do okay locally. They're not selling out.
Here's what if I were in charge, or one of those in charge, what I'd really be contemplating right now is the future of professional sports in general. We are entering a new era, and a sports team in a city used to be attached to your identity, and it still is to millions and millions of people, billions of people around the world. Their sports team are a part of their identity, but that's changing. There's a lot of different factors. One is like what people talk about all the time is that if you had those same players on a team for the duration of their career, then you can be more emotionally, invested. But I think I'd be looking at this going, you know what, guys? We have some huge professional sports teams. The USF Bulls, University of Tampa, and then all the amateur stuff that we have in the Bay Area. High school sports are huge. I think we're good. I think we're good. Let the Rays, let's see if they can find a town where they can be appreciated and pack it somehow. Maybe in Montreal. Because if I'm looking at the future and I'm building a stadium that looks like this, I'm thinking of a new generation of people. And if I'm building a stadium like that, man, it's going to have, I don't know, it's going to be video games and virtual reality. And I'm talking about competitors from around the world, Quidditch, whole Quidditch matches in there, and all these I'd be thinking about the future. And although I have a huge spot in my heart for baseball, where do you see Major League Baseball in 50 years? Where do you see football? I mean, there's a lot of question marks in football. The evolution of where football is heading because of concussions and the era we live in. I don't know. By the way, Christine Gray signed in. She says, Steven!
What's happening, Christine?
All right. So, do you have an opinion on this, Steven, as far as will this actually happen? Will they end up in Ybor? Or will they run out their contract in St. Pete and be looking to go elsewhere?
I mean, I'm speaking about baseball from a pretty, I don't want to say naive perspective, but limited, just because of what it's going to take to make that work in Ybor, to get the price tag approved, to put a winning product out there. Because how long are they going to be talking about to pay the stadium off? And how long do you want the Rays to occupy it?
Right.
Or is this their bargaining chip to go elsewhere? Well, see, we tried everything we could to keep a team local and build a new stadium, and they said no. So off to Montreal or Las Vegas, Charlotte.
I don't know.
That Las Vegas thing's kind of intriguing, though, when you think about it, because they got the Vegas Golden Knights, and then I think the Oakland Raiders are going there next year. The Vegas Raiders for football, and it's
perfect.
like, let's bring in the baseball team.
Perfect. Yeah, you go to Sin City where you can do everything. You can drink and gamble. I think you get hookers right outside the city,
and then slow everything down with a baseball game. Get back to neutral.
Well, I'm thinking, you got so many different attractions out there. Within whatever professional sports, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, you have that too. It's kind of like getting tickets to or one of the Cirque du Soleils. You can do, one night you go to Cirque du Soleil. Oh, tomorrow night there's a baseball game. Let's go check that out. And at your seats, you can sit there and gamble too. You can sit there and bet. Because think about it, you probably go in there and you'd have all these sports books before you even sit down. You could place all these bets. That'd be fun. Right?
Yeah, and think about it. With the way their production is out there, it wouldn't be a baseball game. I mean, it would be, but leading up to it, it's going to be a show. They're going to put on a spectacle that you're going to have a blast watching. And
so baseball would become enjoyable to those that don't even know what's going on. To me, I grew up playing baseball, so I can sit and watch a boring baseball game and be perfectly happy all afternoon. I can't anymore because there's something else in my brain now that goes, you're about to sit down for 3 hours and watch one of 162 of the same effing thing that's going to happen over and over and over again this year.
I know that voice.
James says, Tampa has been making horrible decisions since the aquarium. Taxpayers will eat it for 15 years and finally it'll work. Scott, Steve, looking like a doctor.
Oh my God.
And Sharon, you and I will fight fish. I don't even suggest the Rays leave. Oh, you would like to just see them stay in St. Pete and keep? Well, I would too. That'd be awesome. I guess I'm you know, there's the what I want, and that would I live in South St. Pete. I love that I can just I can get a $5 Uber ride, and I'm at the Trop. I'm at Ferg's having some wings before the game, and then the Trop is right there. I absolutely love that, but you know, realistically, it's not going to sit there in that capacity forever, and so something's going to happen. And Lauren says, responding to Scott, Bolt Brigade represent.
Oh, my God. They're in full force. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
Do you have multiple brigade members in the comment section here today?
If it's Lauren and Scott, those are the names
Yep.
of two on Bolt
Yep.
Brigade. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. All right, so when I got to some exciting news today that I was telling Stephen about, because I know he's a huge fan of science as well.
Most definitely.
And in my days of being on the radio, you didn't talk a lot about science. we talked about what we called surface content. Well, what the program director would call surface content and the consultant would call surface content, I would call superficial content. And so it's basically just talking about the top 5, 10 things that are happening in pop culture. You pull up a list, you go, oh, let's see, the Kardashians are in the news again today. We'll talk about that. This television show is in the news, is the top of the ratings. We'll talk about that. So science never really makes it into there. Mm-hmm. So I am excited about stuff like this because every year we rewrite our history, but we have a better understanding of who we are. So now the oldest tools outside of Africa have been found, rewriting human history. New evidence suggests that our ancient cousins left the continent much earlier than we thought. Now, when you think about humanity, you know, because I know you guys do every single day, and you think about your ancestors going back millions of years, where do you draw the line? Where do you say we became humans? Have we been humans just for the 60,000 years that are the last migration came out of Africa? Or do you go back to when we first stood up, or when, you know, where do you draw the line at humans and our old hominin cousins?
When
ancestors?
did the first Metallica album come out?
I love you, man.
1983?
That is a great line.
1983.
That is a great line.
That's where we started. That's right there. Everything before that, it was whatever.
That's a great line. Modern humans' distant relatives left Africa earlier than previously thought, rewriting a key chapter in humankind's epic prequel, according to a new discovery. Nearly 100 stone tools found at the Shenzhen site in central China may push back the spread of our ancient cousins, hominins, out of Africa by more than 250,000 years. Isn't that amazing?
That's a big difference.
Because you also still have so many people who when they visualize or try, their worldview is something much, much younger. You know, you still have so much of the world who think the world might only be 6,000, 10,000 years old, and humans are separate and special and different from everything else in nature. We are special, all right, but any more special than anything else, I don't know. So here we go. The tool makers lived in this area on and off for about 800,000 years. Put this in perspective. 800,000 years. Between 2.1 and 1.3 million years ago, leaving behind tools that are unprecedented outside of Africa. The site's oldest tools are roughly 300,000 years older than Dmanisi, a 1.8 million year old site in the Republic of Georgia with the oldest known fossils of our extinct Homo erectus relative. So here, I'm going to give you a shot here of the tools we're talking about here. Because I'm getting all excited, Stephen.
Yeah.
And then I see, I'm like, how do they know these are tools? I'm getting all excited. Man, I'm waiting to see them like pull out this, big hammer or something like that. And here are the tools. Now they're experts, and so they can tell that these have been chipped away and used for various things, whether it was skinning things or whatever. And so, quote, finding the artifacts that you knew were around 2 million years old, and therefore the oldest outside of Africa, was for me as a paleontologist really exciting. And this is coming from one of the co-authors here. Goes on to say more people have climbed Mount Everest than found stone tools that old.
Wow.
That's another reason why I wanted to bring it up today.
That's cool.
That's perspective.
Yeah.
That's perspective.
You know who could help us right now is Steve Weintraub, if we get him back on the phone as a geologist with what he has to know about jewels in the earth, and if he could see those rocks to see if they're ground down naturally or if they're ground down from something they can tell it's been impacted by something else and it's been cultivated and carved.
I've always said that once Chinese researchers start looking for evidence on a similar scale as all the money spent in Africa, things will turn up. This was another paleontologist at the University of Wollongong. It again shows how little we actually know. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to learn some stuff. Because we've heard so many things over the years about who we are, where we came from, and we're still learning. None of this stuff is definitive, right? We're rewriting it looks like 250,000 years of our own history because of this discovery. So this could change tomorrow. But here's what we think we know about us. Today's modern humans, Homo sapiens, trace back to a migratory pulse that left Africa about 60,000 years ago. But that's not when we turned human. That's the modern day Homo sapiens. But that migration was hardly the first to leave the continent, nor were modern humans the only hominins to make that trip. Remains of Homo erectus have been found from Georgia to Java. Neanderthals' ancestors trekked to Europe roughly 500,000 years ago. Man. At least 700,000 years ago, early hominins somehow swept through the South Pacific, giving rise to the Hobbit. You ever seen a special on this, Stephen?
No.
It's just a very short, hominin.
Okay.
Like 3.5 feet or something like that.
All
so
right.
They call it a Hobbit. Going on the early wanderers. But anyway, that's coming from National Geographic. And I just thought it was one of those things that if you're like me and you still have a curiosity and you don't know everything about the universe and you're still in awe by stuff like this, I figured you probably appreciate that.
Think about just even the advances, though, in the last 100, 200 years. From look at all this time it's spent of them just having crude tools for 800,000 years. And in the Industrial Revolution, we have computers in our pockets that used to fit on a city block in New York City. Man, what's next?
Okay.
Haptic suits and VR?
Yeah, that's what's next. Yeah, you're exactly right. That'll be one of the big things that's next. That's a game changer.
Yeah.
Andrew wants to know, by the way, he wants me to ask Steven where he got that sweet shirt, digging the lumberjack look.
Oh, thanks, man. I got this at the van store in the mall.
Let's see. Elliot, we became humans once the monolith came to Earth. Doom, 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 doom.
That was fun.
No, that was fun. Next up, we'll move on from humanity to this fuzzy little creature. Stare at your screen. Look at your screen, Lee. This is coming from ABC Action News. Can you see that right there in the middle? Right there behind that play button? Do you know what that is? It is not a hairpiece. It is not a mustache. It's fallen out from someone's face. That is the most deadly caterpillar in North America, and it's right here in the Bay Area in children's playgrounds.
Deadly caterpillar? Oh, no.
A Bay Area father is warning other parents to watch out for the venomous puss caterpillar that he saw crawling feet away from where dozens of kids were playing. It may look cute, this little miniature shaggy dog, they called it, but they say the furry creature crawling next to the playground at the local zoo made him a little leery. Quote, they are getting ready to touch it. And I was like, I probably wouldn't touch it. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't look good. Well, good for him, man, because I'd have been the opposite.
Yeah, man.
If I had saw I was like, oh, come on, it's a caterpillar. Touch it. Put it in your mouth.
This guy was cautious. That was smart because you never know in the wild. Like,
No.
oh, these berries are good, these berries are bad, that kind of deal.
And, it doesn't look threatening there.
Not at all.
It looks like a baby Yorkie.
Doesn't look like it has a mouth to bite you with, much less kill you or poison you.
Well, I don't know that it has fangs. I don't think that's how it's killing you. I think it's just poisonous.
Okay.
I mean, I got
touch.
I don't know. So here we go. So USF Biology, DB Castle or Debbie, quote, it is the single most toxic caterpillar in the United States. Raise your hand if you even knew that caterpillars could be toxic. Okay, or poisonous. The sting. Okay, so you get stung by this damn thing. Holy crap! And it's painful. She says, don't let the cuteness fool you because the sting is very painful. The sting is like being stabbed with a burning knife, a hot knife.
Dude, you don't want to go out like that. You don't have to have your parents or your loved ones explain to friends and family it was a caterpillar that got you.
I like science until science shows me stuff like this. Then I don't like science anymore.
It's not fun.
Yeah, then science is not fun when I have to start looking down on my feet for furry things, for furries.
It's fun, and it reminds you that you could die at any moment.
All right, so be on the lookout for that here in the Bay Area. I just got a couple more stories that I want to hit today. Ooh, dog lovers. This one's for you. What would you do? I'm going to give you details of the story. Colorado woman is distraught after her dog was killed in care of a sitter that was hired through an app. Okay? So this is an app where you go on there and they're dog sitters. You see pictures of their house, like they're good dog people. They love their dogs. We can, send our dog over there for the week while we go on vacation. Well, this particular person was on this app took in multiple dogs. So they took in their little tiny, it looks like a dachshund or a dachshund mix, little tiny thing. Let me show you a picture. Well, I know you guys want to see the picture. So this little guy right here. And Mia, yeah, well, you can go ahead and try. Yeah, go ahead and let her out. But if all the other doors are closed, then she's going to be trapped in a... I'm thinking maybe she should stay here. Sorry about that. My bad. All right, so back to the story here. The app allows dog owners to search and request pet sitters, a dog walk, and overnight care, but she claims her experience with the app turned horrifying. She has a little dachshund named Wally. Quote, he got along with cats and dogs and people and just wanted nothing more than to sit in your lap. I mean, he was supposed to turn 10 next month. Now I don't get those years. This is going to be disturbing, by the way. You're going to feel this in your gut. You're going to feel this in your heart. While on vacation for the 4th of July, they placed her 2 dogs with a sitter she had used once before. 2 days into her vacation, she got a message from the sitter. So here's the message. Imagine you're on vacation, just chilling. And this is the message you get. Quote, sorry, a mastiff completely mauled your dog and killed him instantly.
Good grief. How about some tact a little bit for a dead pet,
Yeah, there's been a horrible accident, and unfortunately, your dog is deceased.
We need to call you.
Right.
Do you have it? Not sorry.
Hey.
It got completely mauled, and it's dead now.
You up? Question mark. Yup? Question mark. Sorry, mastiff completely mauled your dog.
Yeah.
So, unbeknownst to Connolly, another dog was also at the sitter's home, a bull mastiff. He didn't need to be outside near a 150-pound dog. Okay. So when this kind of stuff happens, I kind of put myself in that frame of mind. Mm-hmm. So I think about little Joey over here or Roxy McPoopenstein. You can follow them both, the Wake.Pups on Instagram, the Wake.Pups, the Wake.Pups. If we were to turn them over to somebody and they say, we have a completely safe house. Oh, no, we keep the dogs separated. There's no, whatever. And this were to happen, I don't know if I want to say that because this is being recorded and it's going out over the entire world live, but I think I might feel a little murderous if this were to happen. What about you guys? Would you? I mean, of course you'd be devastated. It's a horrible tragedy.
It's not,
but. If you thought your dog was in the safe care of somebody and then you found out that this person brought in other dogs, including 150-pound bull mastiffs, and these dogs were mingling, a dachshund and a bull mastiff. See, I hold that man. Well, I definitely hold that person responsible. I don't know. I probably hold back my murderous rage and see what the if the legal system could somehow quell what's boiling up inside of me. But I can't imagine getting this phone call and then just going, oh my, that sucks. Well, let's go get another dog.
Yeah, it's not how it works out.
No.
What do you think the legal repercussions are of that? Is it financial? Is it?
She received an apology letter through the email, but nothing more has been done. A spokesperson for Rover, so this is the name of the app, I guess, Rover.
Okay.
As dog owners ourselves, we are distraught by Wally's passing and joint. He didn't pass. He didn't pass. Don't be an a-hole, you effing. In their grief during this heart-wrenching time, upon learning of the incident, our trust and safety team are on it. We have a trust and safety team. You should see their hats. They're great hats for the trust and safety team. Hey, boss, I see we have a trust and safety team. Who is that? Oh, you're the trust and safety. I'm the trust and safety team today? Oh, hi, everybody. I'm the trust and safety team. I've just been appointed a trust and safety. Immediately opened an investigation, and we remain committed to providing support to the Connolly family. We have deactivated this particular sitter from our platform. A little too corporate for me.
Shouldn't trust and safety also be in quotation marks? Trust and safety team?
Yeah, right.
The dog's dead. There was no trust, or there was trust, there was no safety. That's a rough one to swallow, man, especially if you're a pet owner. Because we've all had to like leave town and do things without our pets.
Stephen, do you think as a pet owners, they had written something different that was a little bit more emotional, and then they ran it by their lawyers, and their lawyers go, yeah, well, you're going to have to reword that because you're kind of admitting fault here and you're admitting fault there. Yeah. And so if you do that, well, the next thing you know, you're going to be out $100,000. But
they're admitting that the pet was under their care at their home. But yeah, you're right. Just even in the wording of it, it's not like, sorry, the dog died while we were watching it. That's just a disaster, though, either way.
There was somebody very close to me was a manager of, and he was in a high position. And there was an accident where he worked, a horrible accident where one of his employees ended up on, damn near death, and just horribly disfigured. So this friend of mine, this person close to me, is a very caring person. And he was very torn and distraught during this time because he just wanted to rush to the hospital to see his employee and be with his family and go, hey, oh my gosh, whatever, just be there for the family, right? But he had to go be debriefed first. He had to sit in a room with lawyers and go, okay, well, if you're going to meet this family, which we do not recommend you do, here's what you can say and here's what you can't say. Here's one of the things you can't say. I'm sorry.
Fantastic.
Well, jeez. Candace says, I just wouldn't leave my animal with anyone I don't know. At the very least, find a kennel or vet. But first instinct would be to harass all of my friends and family to help sit or come home to my home frequently while gone. That's a tough one. I have no problem watching animals for friends. Except for that one thought, like all of a sudden you turn around and the animal's not where it's supposed to be, and then you're looking around and you're going, oh my, I should be watching somebody's friend or somebody's animal. Why? If something goes south, you don't have control over everything. I mean, the other day, Joey right here, we turn around and he's just gone. He's like 3 houses down. I'm like, how did this happen? But if I were watching somebody's animal and something happened to it, holy crap, that would be the worst. But it would turn into a sitcom real quickly because I'd go down to the pet store, try to find one that looked exactly like it, paint a spot on it and go, here you go.
You ever had close accidents?
Oh my gosh, yes.
You ever felt that kind of a heart rate elevation? Yes. Oh my God. And you start walking through the explanations of how you're going to sort it all out.
I should have gotten the video of it because there is security footage of what I'm getting ready to tell you.
All right.
It happened at Sand Cove Apartments. And I was walking little Roxy McPoopenstein. We walk into the elevator and I've got her on a leash. She got her harness on. I got her on a leash. I walk into the elevator. It's early in the morning. I'm kind of foggy headed. And I look back as the door's closing, and Roxy didn't walk onto the elevator with me. And I've got the leash in my hand, and she's on the other side of the door. That was one of the most terrifying 5 minutes of my life because I couldn't get the elevator to stop. It went up, started to go up. I can't hear anything. I can't hear Roxy on the other side. I've got the leash. Here's what's happening is I'm trying to rip the thing apart so that it breaks, so it gets down to a string, so that string can just slip out the door if I start to go up, right? Well, I start to go up and I hit the emergency button, which stops it. So I'm trapped halfway in between floors. And I'm just sitting there going, holy, Steven, you're so funny because half of your brain is problem solving. Mm-hmm. The other half is now imagining this conversation with my future wife, breaking this news. And so finally I'm like, I break the thing apart. I do the math in my head. The string is 16 feet long, right?
Okay.
Well, the floors are 10 feet. So I'm like, I'll go up to the second floor. The elevator will, and then I'll go back down. Or I think what I did is I'll hit stop there. Then I'll run back down and clean up all the fur and blood. So, terrified out of my mind. I'm thinking my relationship, not only did I just kill my dog, I'm getting ready to find her hanging, in the lobby up against the elevator, and my relationship will be coming to an end soon. So I get downstairs, and she had backed herself out of the harness, which is one thing that I always hate about her, is in those moments she'll turn around, face me, and back up, and she can squeeze herself out. And that's exactly what she did in the very beginning. She was perfectly safe, perfectly fine, and I was like, wow, I just got away with one. I thank you, universe. Thank you, God. Whatever it is I think I believe in, thank it all.
Yeah.
What about you? What about you?
I've never told this story.
Uh-oh.
My brother knows. I was walking. My friends had dogs in college, and I was walking the dogs. And the one of them is a little thing named Tegan. She was sweet. She's a bigger dog. They had two dogs. One was a golden retriever, and Tegan was, I don't know. She was big and brown. She's like a mixed breed. They rescued her, but she was beaten and abused when they got her. So she was super timid of strangers. So the week leading up, I went over there a few times, pet her just so we could hang out. But she would hide in the back of her kennel. But I needed to go over there twice and walk them, like on this one day. Go get them, get out of the crate. She's okay. She doesn't like me because she's just afraid. But I got the two dogs. We go outside, and we're walking through this apartment complex in Gainesville. And everything's going fine. A car starts coming at me, and I have to get out of the way of the car. But the one dog is pulling me one way, and the other dog has started to go to the bathroom. It's run around a tree. I'm split by a tree, and the dog is walking me into the tree. They're at the edge of their leashes. And the one that I lose is the scared one. And so they basically run me into this tree. I have to let go of one so I can go around.
Right.
I have to then, like, the course of the leash immediately retracts, and I'm looking at the dog, and she's looking at me, and she just takes off. And I was like, oh no, what do I do? So immediately, the first response is don't chase the dog, because if I chase the dog is going to start thinking I'm playing with it. It's going to run even faster. So I kind of let her get a little bit of distance, but I also start thinking of the excuse and how I'm going to tell my friend, oh my God, I lost your horribly rescued dog. It's my fault.
You go and save this poor animal, and I ran it out into the road.
So I follow her down the street, and it's a big apartment complex, and she starts to walk back towards the apartment. So I don't know. I guess intuitively she knew I can walk towards the apartment, and she knew where it was. So we were about 30 feet apart for like 5 minutes, and she just walked. She looked back at me and kept walking towards the apartment. I got so lucky that it just walked back to the apartment. It just wanted to go back into its crate. Opened the door with its key, pet it on the head, walked out, dropped like 3 expletives just to let the tension out. Went home and took a nap.
It never told your buddy?
He has no idea. Everything went great with the dogs. Yeah, they were just delightful. Yeah. Gave them some treats. They seemed pretty tame. How was your vacation?
My in-laws did the same thing to us because my wife would be more apt to lose her, mind over losing Joey or Roxy. So they were watching him, and one of them got loose, and they couldn't catch. They just thought they were going to lose him. He's too fast, and they finally catch him after I don't know how long, and they get him in there. But didn't tell Lauren for like 2 months when the topic came up that I almost lost him or something like that. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, we just wanted to run something by you. And then they drop like 3 stories at once. They go, oh, we lost Joey for like an hour a couple months ago. Oh, but also we dropped a knife and it hit Roxy in the head and she had a seizure. We never told you about that one either.
Oh my God! Is this the first time she knows about it, or is this all that one moment of like relinquishing the truth?
I might be combining stories just for entertainment purposes. I might be putting it all in one bucket just to move the story along.
To
but
get an apology
but that
out
was
as passively as possible.
But that was one too that they another story that they held on to for a while. That they were in the kitchen and they knocked just a butter knife, but you know how the butter knives have the heavy handle,
Sure.
So that goes straight down. And Roxy, if you're in the kitchen, she's going to be under your feet. Boom, right on the top of her head. And they said she falls on her back and just starts shaking. And so, of course, yeah, they're thinking the same thing. We just killed Lauren's dog. But Roxy seems to be fine.
Yeah.
She has some anxiety issues like her father, but other than that, she seems to be fine. So back to James here. This is, if you're just joining us too, we're talking about that story coming out of Colorado where you could get an app. You have an app called Rover, and you can find babysitters on there for your dogs, whether it's for a few hours or for a weekend. So James says, I would completely lose my shit. Got 3 miniature, and I totally would hold them responsible. You would almost expect better care from personal than corporate joints. So sad for the owner. Totally sucks. That is a great point. Because there's a part of me that would go, oh my gosh, this Rover app, and those are all independent people, and they love dogs, and da-da-da-da-da. Excuse me, that's awesome. They're going to get better care than if I drop them off at some kennel somewhere, and they only get lit out twice a day, and da-da-da-da, whatever rules that they follow. You're right, I would think the same thing. Wrong. And he goes on to say, I'm going swimming all afternoon in my pool with all 4 of my dogs, and it's a beautiful sunshiny day. There, take that. That's awesome. All right, next up. No, that is it, ladies and gentlemen. As far as the news for the day, I did have one other story here, but it's not so much a story. I want to try to get this guy on the air. But Bay Area Marine has developed a free phone app so people can get or offer help during a hurricane. So that's really cool. Guy here in the Bay Area, and if you want to see that story, it's coming out of ABC Action News. But instead of just kind of reading some of the details, I think this is a cool story, and it's somebody local who is having an impact on our community, or trying to anyway. And so I'm going to try to book that guy and see if we can get him in here. Other than that, thank you so much for being a part of the Wake.Show today. Chris McCarty will be back on Tuesday. He was in Liverpool for a week. And at first, we were planning on him coming in on Thursday and Friday. He got in yesterday, come in Thursday and Friday. But then texted me this morning, he's like, man, I need a day. I haven't seen my kids. I'm like, man, say no more. Say no more. Get some rest, and we'll pick it back up on Tuesday and learn of all the adventures there Chris was having in Liverpool. All right, Steven, anything you got coming up? What are you doing these days? You still work? What do you got?
I'm resting, man.
You're resting.
I'm taking my time, playing guitar at home, getting ready for Bold Brigade auditions, enjoying some sunshine, skateboarding, living life, man.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the Wake.Show. Have a great day. And tonight, for those of you in the St. Pete Beach area, I'll be at Mastery's Blind Pass starting at 7 o'clock for trivia every single Thursday night. And set a little reminder in your calendar for the third Thursday in August. The third Thursday in August, we are going to do a theme night out at Mastery's. And that theme is going to be Marvel. It's going to be a Marvel theme, Marvel Comics. That'll be the third Thursday in August. And we're going to start doing that every month out at Mastery's, where the third Thursday is a theme. Third theme, I don't know. But we're getting this in there somehow. Thank you, Steve Weintraub, for being on the show today. Steven, my guest, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Joey, always for your adorableness there under the table. And have a great day.
Cheers, friends. Take care.